Hello everybody, I'm Yoshiki Gami, Executive Advisor of Roland and Boss. So last month I retired from President of Boss, but still working for Boss as an advisor. So we are going to keep having this Talk with Boss program, but probably with a little bit slow pace. So today Matt Knight is joining from UK. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Yoshi-san, and thanks for joining us, and thanks everyone for tuning in this morning. This is Talk with Boss, our regular live stream where we dive into a different boss topic. So Yoshi-san, do you want to introduce the theme for this week's stream?
Yeah, today I'm going to a little bit look back about the history of Roland and Boss Reverb product.
Yes, and we spoke a little bit before this, and to everyone listening, this is a very good stream. Lots of information from Yoshi-san, so don't forget to leave your comments in the box below. So this is actually our 50th anniversary as Roland, and we've released a lot of products in that time, including a lot of Reverb products. But Yoshi-san, what was the first product which had Reverb in it from us?
Yes, first one is in 1973, RE200. It's before RE201. So Reverb is spring reverb, not digital reverb. And so next year, 1974, we did this RE201, and in 1975, JC120 that has same reverb, spring reverb tank.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is said that reverb used for effect from 1940s, late 1940s. Of course, reverb is existing like ambience, room ambience or something. But from the late 1940s, it's intentionally used for reverb. So recording engineer used the ambient mic to getting room ambience and the mixing to direct sound after the recording. And that is totally echo chamber type of reverb.
Yeah.
And also late 50s, German company, EMT, they released the plate reverb, EMT 140. So echo chamber, of course, it's not portable. And those plate reverb, they are kind of like huge, so you cannot portable them. So probably first spring reverb is used for guitar amplifier. So that is very much familiar to guitarists, right? And RE201 and JC120, they had a same kind of spring tank inside of the product.
Yeah. So what was the first dedicated reverb product actually released from sort of Roland and Boss?
Yeah, so we have a lot. So today we prepared some timeline so we can share that. So please check that. So first reverb product is RV100 Reverb Add, released in 1978. That was used a little bit smaller spring reverb unit inside.
Yeah, so that's an actual analog spring system which modulates sound physically. There's springs inside. Yes,
totally analog. So if you kick guitar amplifier, you can get explosion sound.
Yeah, please do not drop.
Yes, of course. And
from there.
Yeah, next one is RV800 stereo reverb, released in 1978. So that provided stereo spring reverb sound and looks very much professional, right? And that was designed one of the unit of the Roland Studio System series. So that series is very much famous by Dimension D SDD 320. So they are totally analog.
Yeah, and I've seen that system in real life, and it's huge. Looks very cool, but yeah, totally analog stereo system. It's amazing. So I guess from there, from that system, did we then start to move to digital?
Yeah, probably that was started in 1970. CD was released in late 70, probably. So late 70 or very early 80s. So, that is totally first generation of digital shift is happening in 70s. Of course, from 60s, some academic people had the idea of digital reverb. But that time, computer is not so much fast. So it's kind of like a simulate reverb sound by calculate some very much complicated algorithms. So it's not real time. Recording 10 sec and waiting for 1 hour and getting reverb, such a work,
Yeah, wow.
And from mid 70s, EMT made a digital reverb. And also late 70s, very famous Lexicon 224 released. It's very much famous in recording studio.
Yeah. So from that point, so we're talking 70s now, did Roland start to also try to shift to digital reverb?
Yes, we had a SD2000, right? That's the first digital delay. And also 1982, we released the 1800 digital delay and spring reverb combination product. That is designed for Japanese domestic karaoke market. So maybe you guys don't know about that. So
kind of totally new.
Yeah, kind of like a successor of RE201 for Japanese domestic karaoke market. And we released SD2000 in 1981, and also in 1983, SD3000. That is kind of like totally moved to digital delay. And I designed SD and also RDE 1800. So RDE 1800 is not so much popular product, but I did a lot of experiment for the SD3000 with RDE 1800. What transistor is good, or comparing register and capacitor, everything. So that was very much good experience for me.
And maybe lots of karaoke practice.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And in 1985, we released Roland very fast digital reverb, SRV2000.
Wow. And so did you actually have some development time with SRV 2000?
Yeah. Actually, at that time, our department was very small team, 4 or 5 engineers. So, SD2000 team, before finishing SD2000 development, I started SD1000 design and also shifted to SD3000. And some guys already get into SRV2000, very basic design. So we are kind of like time shared,
Right.
So I know everything about SRV2000, but directly I didn't touch. So and SRV2000 has 3 types of reverb: room, hall, and plate. And also that has a non-linear reverb. At that time, gate reverb was very much popular, right? But gate reverb was made by Reverb and also noise gate. It's a little bit difficult to control the time because it's noise gate works of a threshold level, right?
Yeah.
But nonlinear used multi-tap delay, so it's easy to control the time. So that was totally new type of gate type sound effect. And also SRV2000 had a lot of unique presets, like arson pipe or wash basin. It's, in real time, that is not easy or probably impossible to record such a sound. But we could simulate that kind of sound by using digital technology. So it's kind of like first time that was kind of like a joke, but someone said, "Oh, this is very unique and good," so we decided to use that preset.
Wow, and I guess those kind of presets could only be realized thanks to digital operation. So
Yes.
what sort of challenges did you face, when the technology started to shift to digital?
Yes. After I designed SD3000, I joined the next project, which is SRB1000 project. But finally, we changed that name to DEP5, Digital Effect Processor. So on the SD3000, for one example, print circuit board design, it's handwriting. You know.
Wow.
So I started this side, and another guy started the other side. It's totally handwriting, but it was, huge nightmare. Well, another guy started another side, but of course, it's impossible to connect. So we restarted from zero, But digital design, we decided to introduce some computer-aided system, CAE and CAD. So CAD, computer-aided design, it's a digital design print circuit board. So no need to handwriting. And CAE, computer-aided engineering, that is used for simulation of DSP, such kind of LSI design.
Wow.
So in 1986 we did DEP5, but before that we for SRB 2000 and also SDE 3000 we used TSS system. TSS is a time sharing system for using host computer for designing gate array and LSI. We had a very low priority of using that host computer. So only, very simple, short simulation. Start TSS, we had to wait for a day or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So we decided to introduce our own CAE and CAD. So computer was Apple Computer, American company. And so simulation software was provided from Mentor Graphics. So that was totally new computer and simulation system. But at the semiconductor manufacturers, they were not finished to prepare all libraries. So we were waiting for that, but we couldn't stop the project. So I did all handwriting, hand calculating of data path time delay, and also skew of data and clock.
Wow.
So after that, we registered all the circuit to computer and started simulation. So anyway, that's totally, every day we had to challenge new things. So sometimes very academic technology we fought with, but sometimes, still we are doing handwriting in overnight or something.
Wow, a huge period of change at that point. I cannot imagine, what it must have been like to move at that point and things be so different and many new technologies that helped design those products. And I guess at that point, through the development of the DEP5, obviously that helped us utilize the kind of first ever compact digital reverb in the RV2 in 1986. And I guess, as well as the DD2, which I think was a similar time, it must have been a huge effort to realize the rack processor
Yeah.
into a compact pedal.
Mm-hmm.
How was the kind of feeling and the design at that point for that kind of product?
Yeah, actually, I was worked for Roland at that time, so design kind of like a studio equipment. But both engineers was totally crazy, you know. The first time that happened at DD2, you know, they put the gate array to compact pedal, and RV2, you know, at that time our challenges were always how to create fast DSP and also how to create compact reverb algorithms. And also making reverb algorithms very important digital signal processing is much prior. You know, making filters and also comb filters, we need to use a lot much prior. But both engineers, they wanted to make reverb DSP without much prior. So only using other. You know, in digital world, 1 bit shift, that means half level, 1 by second, right? 2 bit shift is quarter, 1 by fourth. So maybe it's possible with such a simple number, but making reverb is, my first reaction is, really? You do? But they made a very compact LSI for RV2 without much prior. So sound is limited, but their crazy idea, kind of like dramatic idea, realized that small compact pedal digital reverb. So yeah, and also not only LSI, they made a 2-layer print circuit board. So main digital main board and also analog daughter board. Such kind of, you know, they did hard work for put such a huge capacity of processing into compact pedal. Yeah,
that's crazy to imagine that you know, compact digital reverb we see everywhere, but then totally new creative idea and you know, taking those challenges and making a user-friendly product. I think is absolutely amazing. And I think in 1988, so the next year after that release, we had the half rack model, right? So the RRV10 that utilizes the same chip as the RV2, but also some other changes as well. Yeah, so RV2 used a 12-bit R2R ladder for AD and DA converter, which is designed for SD3000. I designed that one, but that has only 12-bit. So dynamic range is around 70 dB or something. It's not enough. So RV2 was kind of like noisy, but RV10, they decided to add some analog sound compounder, which is ME572, designed for phone line. Yeah. Wow. Of course, we use the same ME572 to SDE1000. Yes. So, but RV2 didn't have enough space to use that compounder, but RV10 was having a compounder inside. Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. And I mean, you know, absolutely amazing to come from, you know, where we started to a compact reverb. Before we move on, let's just check a few of the comments and people that are joining this morning. So, morning to our friend Andy, the guitar geek. Alec, good morning to you. Kevin, Andy said he had a DEP5. So now you know a little bit more about it. Also, good morning from Oakville, Connecticut in USA. Thanks for joining. Not sure what the time is over there, but maybe early. And Alex says, beyond fascinating. May this series continue. Well, hopefully we'll have Yoshi-san a few more times in the future. Well, Yoshi-san, maybe we should move on. We've talked about the 70s and into the 80s a bit. Let's move a bit more into the kind of further innovation into the 80s and 90s. And given the conversation so far, the spirit of challenge is a very important element to development of product. And I think innovation has really contributed to the development of so many digital products. And I think from the late 80s to the 90s, things developed much more rapidly. You know, how was it for you working at that time?
Yeah, you know, every day we got a new technology, and also memory size is expanding a lot, right? So today, if we think this is not easy, but tomorrow that is easy or something, you know.
Yeah.
And also such kind of revolution helped us a lot, because one example, cost calculation. You know, today it's a very tough material cost, but memory chip cost is going down every day. So no need to calculate, you know. So today almost material cost is going up, but at the time always going down. So that helped me a lot.
Yeah. So, you know, after the RRV10, which we talked about, what kind of other products at this time did you develop? Yeah,
I was still worked for Roland, and I designed the R880 4U digital reverb unit, released in 1988, probably. And that has GC8 graphic controller, so you can edit all the parameters. And GC8 graphic controller is very much unique controller that has full graphic display, and also R880 has each block like a early reflection unit, EQ unit, and reverb unit or something, compressor, or a lot of unit. So you can assign any connection. You can make a special routing between each unit, and of course you can move the unit. So that's a totally unique product in that days. And a lot of New York recording engineer helped us to make patches. Who is George Massenberg and Roger Nichols. They provided a lot of great patches for us.
Wow. Before we did this talk today, I'd never seen that product, or the GC8. It's a total, you know, revolution, I think. And really, digital technology, digital products have expanded the possibilities of what we could do. And I guess generally at that time, those high functional products were expensive, but started to appear more reasonable, as you said, with innovation. So again, you know, was that the same for Roland and Boss, you know, becoming more consumer friendly?
Yes. Of course, we wanted to make a much high spec type of product like R880. By the way, I have one unit, so next time please come down to my home. You can see. I would be honored to try such a unit. And also another product is kind of like how to provide cheaper unit. So in 1990, we released RV1000, Boss brand 1U rack digital reverb. That was first made in Taiwan, DSP product. And also that was my first Boss brand product.
We have one in the office, so you can sign it for me next time.
Yes. And also RV1000 preset-based reverb, but of course you can edit some parameters like reverb time. And RV1000 used same DSP of DEP5, but for reducing the cost, material cost, we decided to use a very simple single-sided board instead of dual-sided glass epoxy board.
Right.
And also, maybe that was around $300. It was totally cheap rack mount reverb unit at that days.
Yeah, must have, as we said, since expensive high-end products got closer to consumer products, as it were, people can get that kind of high-quality reverb more easily, and integrate it into their own setup. So after that, what was the next product for you?
Yeah, so maybe this timing I moved to Boss R&D. So in 1993, we released SRB330 dimensional space reverb. That was a Roland brand, but I worked at Boss. Yes.
Right.
And that SRB330 used Roland sound space technology, RSS, three-dimensional sound technology. So SRB330, that early reflection sound is set to three-dimensional point, and that is kind of like may provide a huge whole sound or small room sound by using 3D technology.
Yeah, totally crazy system, and I've heard it in real life, and obviously it's huge and it sounds amazing. But recently, we've been able to utilize that three-dimensional sound image for products like Waza Air. So how did technology generate those kind of ideas and products even today?
Yeah, I was remembering that sound, and also when our engineer designed Waza Air, I asked them to try the Roland sound space technology again. And also they created another new idea, like using a gyro for moving head, then sound is changing. So kind of like an old technology and the new idea combination provide another possibility to customers. We are always providing some proposal of new technology, but sometimes they are too early,
Yeah.
And people cannot understand how to use or what is how that is cool or something.
Yeah.
And then that project is kind of like a fault as a business. But after some years later, the environment changed and another technology changed. Then some idea is revival, kind of like, for one example is MEX changed to MS3. You know that?
Yeah, kind of like almost, I guess, 25 years apart, and Waza Air has been a huge success and many people have loved it, and the technology born out of an idea that was many years old. And I think it's amazing to hear that background, that things that we did so many years ago still play a part in what we do today. And so many other reverbs obviously came out at that point. So we had RV3, which was our reverb delay, I think 1994. And we'd improved the sound quality since DSP technology had enhanced. And that reverb plus delay mode, which became legendary in the RV3, is now also in the RV6. And I think at that time we also had RV70 in 1994 as well, right? Yeah.
RV70 is kind of like a successor of RV1000. So the RV70 that has 200 preset and also parameters a lot. So at the same time, we released the outside controller MCR8. So you can control a lot of parameters by using MCR8. Actually using MIDI, So, however, MCR8 is almost the same price of RV70.
Yeah, it would have been expensive at the time.
Yep. And
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
next we released SRV 3030 in 1998. That was 24-bit digital reverb. It's same to name. It's a 24-bit ADDA. As I said, RV2 used 12-bit ADDA, so it's double, And also that has a very unique function, preview function. So if you push the preview button, you can play back recorded drum or voice sound, which you can record. So that's easy to create reverb sound by using such a preview function. And also next year, 1999, we released SRV 3030D that has a digital in-out with 48 kilohertz sampling ratio.
Wow. Yeah, I think that the preview function is something I've not seen before. Actually, that's such a great idea, especially when using it in the studio.
Yeah. So that idea came from recording engineer and also PA engineers.
Right. Wow. Yeah, and again, so great to be able to realize those kind of ideas as digital technology evolved. We could realize those kind of requests. So all in all, 6 Reverb products came out in the 90s, and Yoshi-san, you developed 5 or helped with sort of 5 of those?
I'm not sure, but maybe. So I have a lot of memories. Not only Reverb, my team and I myself designed a lot of products. For example, Boss brand GX700, SX700, BF1, and Roland brand is AP700 EQ unit and AF70 anti-feedback.
Yes.
And also from late 90s, we designed VS840 and continue to BR8, a Boss recorder.
Wow. Yeah. And maybe that's a subject for another time, but obviously a huge, again, step in a whole new market, in a whole new world.
Yes.
With the BRs as well. Well, that's, amazing to see, 70s, 80s and 90s. And before we move on to more modern times, again, just a few comments coming in.
Yep.
A few people still saying using RV5. Welcome from Malaysia, I think that is. So someone said, Yoshi-san, I thought you retired. Did they forget to take your security pass away? They're still letting you in.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we've put there, you'll be coming back for a little while for these. And someone's thanking you there, Yoshi, for some questions around DSP pedals and computer code. And again, some thanks there, and enjoying your retirement. But we still get to speak to you now and ask you a few more questions about Reverb, because we're actually going to move into more modern times, and we've still got a few more products to talk about. So as we go into the 2000s, we go into RV5, which is our compact in 2002. And then the FRV1, which was our collaboration with Fender, which came out in 2009, which was a compact pedal that faithfully reproduces the kind of 63 Fender Reverb. What are your thoughts on how things changed as we go into the kind of more modern times? Yeah,
so almost Reverb is shifted to Boss brand. Maybe from 90s, I moved to Boss and designed Roland brand Reverb at the Boss. But maybe in 1999, I promoted to Boss R&D director. So probably Roland, no one developed Reverb at the Roland side, probably. And also, Reverb was very much special for recording studio. Engineer used digital reverb, but guitarists started to use personal recording system. So it's kind of like a familiar for guitarists to use such recording equipment.
Yeah.
So probably Boss brand is much more familiar with guitarists. That's why we shifted almost all such kind of DSP product from Roland to Boss.
Ah, interesting. And I guess, yeah, people were starting to use it more as an effect live and playing at home or whatever, not just recording. So that popularity is sort of increased.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously moving forward as we moved with technology, we go to RV6, which is in 2015, which you can still buy today. It's still in our existing line, as well as the RV500 in 2017, which is in our 500 series format.
Yeah. So, yeah, another interesting story is, you know, when I moved to Boss, you know, Boss engineers all guitarists. They don't care about the sound of reverb. They said, reverb, spring is number one, you know?
Ah, yeah, yeah.
But, so recently, all the guitarists goes into PC recording system, and they use stereo connection, right? So I wanted to have kind of like a redesigned reverb compact pedal, which intentionally think about stereo use. So that was RV6. So at that time, we released JC40, which has stereo input. So that is kind of like a proposal to use stereo connection. So you can get a much more spacious sound by using stereo reverb and stereo guitar amplifier. And also RV500, it's unbelievably high spec. You know, 30-bit AD DA, 32-bit floating point calculation, 96 kilohertz sampling ratio, and with Boss highest reverb algorithms. So that's unbelievable in such a small body.
Yeah, yeah. And who would have thought that, you know, the crazy engineers in RV2 in 1988 would have kind of realized, you know, 30 years, 20 years later, you know, we would have had such a product. You know, it's I think we can say the RV500 is probably the ultimate reverb in this kind of era. Realistically, you know, amazing to see that kind of product where we started and where we end up today. So today we've talked about a lot of that design history in reverbs, 17 different models in total. And Yoshi, you've been involved in so much of that history. How do you feel looking back across all of that?
Yeah, so I designed a lot of product, and also, you know, making reverb algorithms is very much special job. So still we are using same algorithms. It's my great honor. You know, they are still using same algorithms. But recently it's changed much more, kind of like next step. You know, our main job was how to make compact reverb algorithms because DSP capability is limited. But now DSP is getting more faster and faster, and memory is huge. So you don't need to think about size of algorithms. So one example is IR. IR is very much simple technology, just requires high-speed processing of DSP. So now maybe young engineer, they have another idea with such kind of latest processing platform, right? So same thing, no change thing is how to get the good sound, right?
Of course.
So now we have a lot of knowledge how to create such a good sound by using DSP, but and also involving improving something different way to realize the sound, that is showing another bright future for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, now we move forward and digital technology continues to change, that we can realize new and exciting products, into the future. But as you say, the ethos that we've talked about in Talk with Boss for many episodes now is that always the best sound and the best quality, that's what we will always focus on. Yeah. So I think that's everything. That's taken us through the first reverbs all the way through to today. Again, thank you, Yoshi-san, for such a deep explanation on Boss and reverb history.
Yeah.
much to talk about. And again, a few more people chiming in with some questions and some comments towards you and the love for Boss products as well. So as always, we appreciate you tuning in, listening, and sharing your stories here as well. So that's amazing. So Yoshi-san, we should probably talk about when the next stream will be. A lot of people are asking, when will we see you again?
Yeah. So next time would be May 25th, 1 month later. And the next theme is not decided yet. We'll announce that later.
Yeah, I think we have time to think about what we can ask you next. All dive into your brain again for some information.
I still have security ID, so no problem.
No problem. We'll let you in again. That's no problem. Well, everyone, thank you for joining. Thanks for all your comments. As Yoshi-san mentioned there, the next stream will be Wednesday, the 25th of May, 7:30 a.m. UK time, 3:30 p.m. Japanese Standard Time, and 11:30 p.m. In LA. So that'll be May the 24th. Thank you all for joining today, as always. Don't forget to leave any more impressions into the comment box, and we look forward to seeing you all next time.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. See you next time. Bye.